All right, now let's talk about Chapter 2. Try to get through as much of this as possible. And get it to load. Yeah, whatever, okay. Stop. Okay, the need for security. Okay. Talk about the primary mission of information security is to ensure assets are basically not tampered with, remain safe, remain secure, remain useful, all that kind of stuff. So we want to protect our data. I'm assuming some of you have credit cards in here. Maybe a couple of you. I have a Chase Bank card. It's got like a $20,000 limit on it. They keep sending me these convenience checks. What it is, they send me a check, and I can use that check to pay off another credit card, pay off a debt, and it'll basically just go onto my credit card account. 0% interest for a year or whatever. But it drives me crazy. They keep sending them all the time. I was even getting 6 a day at one point. So I called them up and said, please stop sending me these stupid things. Like, okay, we will. Probably take about 3 months for us to stop sending them. I'm like, that's weird. So then they still kept coming, and the lady's like, we did tell you it would take 3 months to stop. I don't understand that long of a period. I said, I'm tired of this. I'm going to take these checks and start leaving them all over the city. Then you could have picked them up and spent $20,000. And she's like, well, technically, sir, we'd rather you didn't, but you could, because if someone stole them, I'm not responsible, which is true. I had my Discover card stolen for about $17,000, and I wasn't responsible for anything. But in the field of information assurance, information security, cybersecurity, the whole point is protecting data, protecting assets, okay? If there were no threats, we wouldn't have an issue. I lived on Tinker for quite a few years before I retired from the Air Force. And the bad thing was when I moved off base, I had to pay money because I didn't have my house key. We never locked our doors. Literally never locked it. And I didn't even know where the key was. And they're like, we need the key back. I'm like, well, I've been here like 7 years and I haven't locked my house in 7 years. I don't know where the door key is. So I had to pay them like $15 for a key. Because, I'm living on a military base with people you know, protected by gates and guards and guns, so you're probably pretty safe. So the point is, if there was no issue, if there was no threats, we wouldn't have a problem. But the problem is there are threats out there now. Everybody is a threat nowadays. Secretary downstairs, Stephanie, she drives me crazy. A couple weeks ago, she says, man, I cannot believe these people keep breaking into my car at night. They keep breaking into your car? So please, you smash me? She goes, oh no, I don't lock my car. Because there's really nothing in there to steal. If they keep going through the glove box, I'm like, why aren't you locking your car? I don't know. I'm like, lock your car. So what I started doing was she would be parking out here without locking her. I started throwing trash in her car. So she's been locking her car recently. I'm assuming you all lock your cars. It's common sense. She's like, oh, there's nothing to steal. But it's a car. They could steal the car. So it's crazy. Okay. So threat of attacks and information is a constant concern. There's always someone trying to break into stuff. Always. Business needs first. So Rose State here, we have free wireless. I'm assuming some of you use it. Is that considered the first business need of Rose State College? No. It's probably financials, enrollments, grades, stuff like that. But the wireless is kind of like an added bonus for you students. Okay? So if we're going to protect Rose State, we want to protect the wireless, but that's not our number one threat to worry about. Yeah, we do a decent job protecting wireless. So, like I said, you need to protect the ability to function. You need to be able to do your job. When I ran my service provider business, when I went down, people would freak out. I had clients who would, this one guy, just recently, he was expected to sell $9 million of product via his website in 1 year. Excuse me. So you can imagine if he was down for a period of time, he might be losing a lot of money. So ability to function, kind of a big deal. Protecting the data. Make sure nothing's getting corrupt. Make sure nothing's getting changed. Okay. Enabling the safe operation. Okay. The computers continue to work. They don't explode. That kind of stuff. Okay. And safeguarding your technology. Okay. We got a printer right here. Is this the new one? I guess it might be. I don't know if it is or not. But say I'm going to safeguard this printer. assume the printer cost me $500. The only reason I'm guessing that is there's a sticker on it. They don't put a sticker on unless they cost $500. So how much money should I spend on protecting this printer? Couple grand? Probably not. Up to the cost of the item would probably be a good idea. So I'm not going to spend tons of money protecting this printer when it's not worth that much. Now servers, on the other hand, where your personal data is stored, maybe we're going to spend a little bit more on that. But protecting technology assets, kind of a big deal. Drives me crazy. These monitors right here, they're not tagged at all. You literally, don't do this by the way, but you literally could grab this monitor, walk off, and you'll be done. We have a TV downstairs in the hallway. That's our second TV, by the way. First TV they put up, we even bought this special safeguard mount for it. They literally put it up the very first week. We were actually having a cybersecurity meeting upstairs, and someone stole the TV in the first week. Right around the corner we found where they had bolt cutters, where they just came over and chopped the lock and just stole the television. It's like, seriously? Nowadays they're cheaper. I mean, TVs are pretty cheap now. I don't know if you realize that, so no one stole it recently. But, I mean, even TVs get stolen. You know, stuff gets stolen all the time. You know, we've had projectors get stolen, all kinds of stuff. Okay, it says management is responsible for the facility of the security program. So we have Dr. Webb, our president. She kind of should oversee the entire functionality of Rose State College. But does that mean she's going to totally be sitting here watching how I teach my class and how that? No. But she's going to be like the figurehead to support it. Years ago, before we had information technology stuff, you know, there was nothing to protect. But you know, once you started getting to that point, you know, management has to get behind it. Okay. Has a lot to do with management than technology. Okay. Now, what are our processes? So someone decided that under $500, like this monitor, we don't have to inventory. What do y'all think? Is that a good plan or was that a stupid plan? Well, what's the cost of the tags? Because, you know, what's the cost of the system to manage the tags and the personnel? So I can understand why they say, you know, that monitor is cheap. Why bother with it? And you know, I remember when I worked at Tinker, I was what's called the ADPE custodian, automated data processing equipment. That's what computers were called years ago. I was in charge of that. And we used, remember the old IBM Selectric typewriter that had a ball in it that would jump around and turn? Some of you older people probably know what I'm talking about. You younger kids probably never heard of that. But these typewriters cost $3,000. Well, once they started getting replaced with computers, what do you think they did with the typewriters? Started throwing them away. Because, I mean, they weren't being used. Well, they came out and did an inventory one day, and they were really freaking out. I said, where's all these typewriters? These are $3,000 typewriters. Where are they? So they were coming after me because I was kind of the guy in charge of that, even though they weren't in my area. And finally, I had to tell them, you know, that it doesn't matter that they cost $3,000 5 years ago. The current value of them is nothing. So, and it was really tough to let them, okay, fine, we don't care about the typewriters anymore. So, kind of a big deal, okay? All right, implementation, I said kind of a big deal there. Communities of interest should address information security in terms of business impact. A lot of times you hear when something happens, they talk about the amount of money. So, if Rose State got affected with a virus, we could figure out the dollar value by the loss in productivity, the loss in enrollment. We were closed the Friday before school started for snow. Wow, that was a big decision to make. Because, I guess it was ice we were closed for. How much did our enrollment drop just because we were closed the Friday before school? We'll never know. But, do you think it did at all? I don't know. Possibly. Maybe somebody says, yeah, I'm thinking about going to Rose State. They're closed today. Well, I'm not going to go to school today. I can see that happening. Hopefully it didn't, but it could. Okay. And business interruption. Okay. Let's see. What's a very popular restaurant? Cane's, our new Cane's Chicken right here on the corner. You get pretty busy during lunchtime. Actually, better ones. Freddy's and More. You all know where Freddy's and More is, right by the Warren Theater. A few months back, we were going to go to the Warren Theater. We like going to the balcony because you can eat there, but it gets expensive to eat in the balcony, so we were going to eat at Freddy's beforehand. So we go to Freddy's, and they're all just standing there. I'm like, okay. I want to, we can't, our computers are down. Like, okay, we just, I mean, you still got a grill. Well, we can't calculate the tax. Like, it's not that hard. I mean, I said, well, even, estimate. No, we can't. We can't without the computers. So literally, they would not sell no food because the computers were down. So how much business did they lose? Now, it happens all the time. People, oh, we can't do anything because of X, Y, Z. So it's tough. Okay. So without data, losses, record transactions, it's over. You're pretty much done. Okay. Predicting data in transmission's another deal. We got these wires right here. They are not shielded in any way. So is that a vulnerability? Yeah, technically it is. But are we transferring any top secret data on these cables? No. So not that big of an issue. Okay, but taking data and transmission and processing and storage are all valuable and important things. So if someone got into our IT services data center and started changing grades, I think we talked about it last time, probably a bad thing to happen. Okay. Says we need environments that safeguard applications using IT. Okay. Antivirus. How many of you have antivirus on the computer at home? Most of you? I don't. Okay. You want to know why I don't? I currently run a Mac, and there's a much less probability of a virus on a Mac than there is on a Windows, and I just currently haven't found one I like yet. That's why I'm not running one at the moment. But I do have backups. I actually have two backup systems. I use a backup system called Carbonite. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them. I pay $54 a year for unlimited backups. And I can access it from my phone, from the internet, from anywhere. Like I can log in right here and restore my data from my home computer. And I also buy the service for my work computer. I pay for it personally because Rose State, if I want my desktop computer backed up here at Rose State, they'll bring me an external DVD-ROM and say, here, back up your... No, that'll take me forever. I got a couple 4 terabyte drives in there. No. So, but, how do you manage that? How do you safeguard stuff? Backup's important. So if my computer at home gets affected with a virus, well, I can literally just restore it because I have 2 backups of it. So, and I also have a synchronization system that synchronizes important stuff from my Rose machine here to my home machine. So I can work on either location. I like that because I can take my laptop somewhere, even without internet, update all my files. The moment I plug it back into the internet, it instantly synchronizes and updates everything everywhere. So, and I do that with Google Drive. It's free, by the way. If you don't use that, you need to start using these technologies. But yeah, backup's kind of a big deal, and that's a very important way to safeguard our data. Okay, it says management must continue to oversee the infrastructure. I don't know if I might have told you this story, but Aerospace Reports, a client of mine, they were always real big on buy whatever we need. Okay, so I buy them good computers and everything, and I had them subscribe to, at the time it was called Core Vault. It's changed its name now, but it was a backup service. Okay, Aerospace Reports did title searches for aircraft. Think of it like a title for a mortgage, but it's a title for an airplane. And they literally converted everything to electronic. They had, imagine this room full of filing cabinets. They converted all those cabinets to electronic. So I talked them into getting a backup service, and one day they deleted like the letter N. Imagine deleting every aircraft number that began with N. They literally lost everything. They were really freaking out. And they called me, they're like, oh my God, Ken, we just deleted N. Because literally they had an A folder, and then below that they had all the A records and the B records and so on and so forth. I says, not a problem, I'll just restore it. And they're like, what? So I said, give me 5 minutes. So I went into remotely got into the server, went into the backup software, selected N and said restore. So I called the owner back, Vicky, and I'm like, all right, Vicky, give it 5 minutes. And she's like, and she brings up, she goes, N's back. I'm like, yeah. So you know that service I taught you into buying? She's like, oh my God, I am the happiest person in the world right now. She goes, we are currently moving that to the highest priority of funding each year to make sure, because I don't know how many records they probably would have lost, but it had to be in the hundreds of thousands of records that they would have had to gone back and found the paper copies that they archived somewhere and re-scan it all. So they basically at that point said, wow, that is awesome. And they literally to this day still have that service. So I tell you, one time you lose something that you really need, that's when you're going to get your backup solution. And like I'm telling you, $54 a year, I don't know about you guys, but that's not much. I highly recommend getting it. Okay, so management must continue to oversee the infrastructure, okay, and not regulate to IT department. Management still has to overall be in charge of everything. I'm going to show you something here, kind of funny. We got what's called our Center of Academic Excellence certification or accreditation, whatever you want to call it, if I can somehow get to it. Okay. And I'm the one who submitted the application, got it approved and everything. And when we first did it, we did not have a lot of policies in place. But we got that all fixed, and we actually have even updated them. Okay? Now, I do not manage these policies in any way, but I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to show you disaster recovery policy. Here is our policy for fiscal year 2015. Do we already see a problem? Let's go to the very bottom. Let's see. Probably somewhere in here it says we're going to update this every year. Is it not going to update it? Okay, let's pick another one. It should tell us when it's going to be updated. Let's pick computer usage policy. This document is reviewed annually. Last review, December 2014. Okay, I was the one who got them to put these policies up there. I was the one who got to get them reviewed and put the maintenance date on it, basically. Are they sticking with it? No, they're not. And that's totally normal for any organization. Do we really need to update it? It's still good. Well, still, at least go ahead and change the date to show that you did an update. Because if someone's to look at that today, it literally says I ain't done that for 2.5 years, over 2 years on there. So, kind of sucks, but again, it's totally normal for all organizations. So, what'll happen is we're due in about another 3 years to do the review again. And at that point, I'm going to hey, and they're going to review them one more time. And it sucks. But management really needs to be in charge of it, but it doesn't quite always work that well. Okay. It says the organization must employ secure infrastructure hardware. Okay. Let's talk about, first of all, not just the infrastructure. Let's talk about physical security for a second. We got doors on this building. This is what freaks me out. Okay, so we got doors, and we have doors in the classrooms. So the security has a listing of which rooms to open on which days. Okay? You open, basically it's every classroom without computers, just to be opened. Okay? Well, we're always switching security people, and it never fails. Monday and Tuesday of this week we had a new security guard. And how I knew it? Because they didn't unlock the front door correctly. Okay? But what's even worse than that is when there's a holiday. So the paper says open doors Monday through Friday. Well, pretend this Friday is a holiday. Guess what security's going to do? They're going to unlock the doors because it's a Friday. They're not going to have but the school's closed today. They're still going to unlock the doors because it's a Friday. I'm telling you, it happens all the time, and it's just tough. Okay? But this switch right here is kind of out in the open. Could you steal it? Sure, you could. But normally, down the end of the hall, if you actually go down this next hallway, and you got room 208, next to this room 207, if you look in there, there's a window on, you'll actually see all the main switches. Now, those are locked up. Those are kind of important. If we lost this one, it would take you guys offline. But it wouldn't really affect the rest of the building. So you really need to keep your infrastructure secured. Okay? Our wireless, if you guys were to bring a Linksys router in and plug it in, IT services would know about it right away. Because our wireless would detect a rogue wireless point and would yell at them. So, okay. Says additional security services may be needed. Depends on how you grow. Obviously, we're not that critical here. When I worked at Tinker, I worked in an area with top secret data. Now, obviously, their security was a lot more. Okay, more robust must be needed if you outgrow what you got. Okay. Threats. What are some of the threats? This is basically a potential loss of value. Okay, so there's just tons of them out there. Okay, the FBI survey talked about malware. 67.1% of organizations have malware. If you have not been hacked into yet, there's two things. It's either you have been, you don't know about it, or you're fixing to be very soon. Because every organization is vulnerable. Every single organization. I actually put in a grant request literally an hour and a half ago to update our vulnerability assessment projects. Because we have one. And when you take the security auditing class, you're actually going to break into an actual Windows server, use a known exploit, go in and capture the screen and steal all the data off of it, okay? But we're going to expand that excessively, so you'll be able to do it in a lot of different. Instead of me showing you how to do it on one machine, maybe you can do it on 10 different machines, 10 different vulnerabilities, so you get more experience in there. So that's one thing we're doing in this aspect, okay? Management should always be aware of new threats if there are. We get emails. There's a lot of those, phishing emails that get sent out. Whenever they get sent out to a lot of people at Rose State, our IT department sends it out. All right, everybody, ignore this email. Y'all remember the I Love You virus? Anyone ever remember that one? Years ago, maybe a couple of you, the older people. The I Love You virus, what it did is it got into your address book, copied out your contacts, and sent a message to everybody in your contact list saying, I love you. And they would open it, go into their contact list, and send out a list to theirs saying, I love you. And I had a client, Taylor Valve Technologies, that they kept getting infected so many times. It was easy to fix. I just wrote a little batch file to go in and delete the file and, fix it. But finally, I had to call him. I said, okay, dude, no one loves you. Trust me. You've got infected like 3 times. Stop opening the email. The subject line was, I love you. It's not like it was even hard to. So we finally said, stop opening the emails to say, I love you. It's tough, okay? So we got to tell people about that, okay? So yeah, malware, it's out there, okay? 11% indicates system penetration by an outsider, okay? Technically, you guys are outsiders. Even though you're students, how do I know that you're not bad guys? You could literally be a bad guy enrolling in a class here to get access to our systems. I'm just saying, it could happen, okay? There we go, malware, denial of service, 17%. It's just fraud, website defacement. When I used to work for an ISP downtown, the deal was they would pay me, I forget exactly how much money it was. It was decent money, but it was for halftime work. Because they didn't really need a lot of work. But I did so much overtime, I was working full-time plus some. Finally, I got tired of it. I'm like, I'm doing so much work and you're not paying me for full-time. They're like, well, you're free to leave at any time. So I left. Then they had nobody. They were getting ready to file bankruptcy anyway, but they still had a couple big paying clients. So I left. And then, man, the very next day, what's the name of the virus? Not the NIMDA virus. It was a virus that affected Windows IIS servers. The Code Red virus. The Code Red virus came out. Very next day, Code Red came out. And it was a website defacement virus. What it really did was it took your website and renamed your files to backup, BAK, and just put a website page that said you've been hacked by Chinese. So it was actually a very benign one. It really didn't hurt much. It just took your website down. And it was funny because they called me like, Ken, all of our websites are down. We need that fixed. I'm like, I don't work for you no more. What's it going to take? I said, well, first of all, you're going to back pay me to the day you hired me. You're going to back pay me for full-time pay rather than half-time pay. And now since I no longer work for you, you can pay me $100 an hour to come fix your virus. So they did. And I got there, and they're like, oh, can you fix it? I'm like, where's the check? And then I went to my bank and deposited the check, make sure it was good. So I knew they were going to file bankruptcy. Then I fixed their problem. But, it was a nightmare. But, instant messenger abuse, exploitation of DNS servers. Was it last fall? There was a virus that took down 11 of the 13 root DNS servers in the world. There's only 13, by the way, in the entire world. It took down 11 of them. What do you think happened? Nothing. The internet continued to function perfectly because the DNS system runs perfectly with only 2 of 13 servers. It's really pretty awesome. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on out there. Okay. All right. Compromise of intellectual property, information extortion, viruses, equipment failure, theft. It happens all the time. There's always something going on. Was it some guy stolen? Actually, Terry Byers was just telling me right before I came up here. I guess in the Fab Lab. He works in the Fab Lab, if you know where that is. But the cleaning crew last night went into the Fab Lab and walked off with this big, huge, long PVC tube. Just walked off with it. And they have it on camera and everything, so they were asking me, how do we save it off the camera? So I don't know. I've never never done that. But so theft, big deal. I had headphones get stolen out of my office. Got a pair of headphones sitting right on my desk that me and my wife go to the gym every single morning because she works at Tinker, but her headphones always sit there. One day they were missing. So I reported it, and basically they ended up replacing them. But it was funny, the cleaning crew, because I have a camera in my office, you could hear the after the fact I got the camera in there, but the cleaning crew, you could hear them on there. Well, I know what he's talking about because they're always sitting right there. And why did he wait 2 weeks to report it? And it was funny because I didn't wait 2 weeks. I literally waited 2 days, but it was crazy theft. I also years ago I used to have a snack bar in my office that I would go buy snacks, drinks, snacks, ice cream, burritos, and all that stuff, and put them in my refrigerator, freezer in my office, and anybody could eat out of it. Students, faculty, anybody for whatever I paid for it. So you can sell this for $0.25. Whatever I paid for it that week is what the price was. Well, every night I go home and I make sure the soda's all full. Then the next morning there's always soda missing. So I put a camera in there. The very first night of the camera, you see the security guard walk right in, grab him a soda and a candy bar, and he leaves. Come back a few minutes later, grabs a burrito, cooks it in my microwave, and then leaves. So I had it all on camera. I made a nice big blow-up picture of him with his hand in the refrigerator, and I posted it on my door. It said, Rose State Security is a thief. And I sent it to a couple bigwigs on campus as well. So they called me Monday morning. Ken, would you please remove the picture from your door? And we're talking a big, nice, full-size picture of the security guard. Like, it's not like I'm lying. They're like, we realize that. Could you please remove it? But they're like, how much did you steal? I'm like, I don't know. It's been going on for a long time. So they gave me a check for $50 and fired the guy. But insiders, I mean, the security guard had keys to all the doors. So, insiders are a big issue. Theft's a big issue. Fire, floods, happens all. Heck, we're in Oklahoma. We get floods all the time. So, I have a generator in my house. A in-home gas generator built into my house because I used to run servers, so I needed something. Remember we had that ice storm, 4 years ago? A couple years ago we had it? I was the only one in the neighborhood that had power for 6 days. I did have a $400 gas bill because the generator was running the whole time, but I didn't have to go find an apartment. I didn't lose any food. You should really think about getting one. They're awesome. It takes about 34 seconds for it to turn on. It takes about 10 seconds for it to text the power failure, because you don't want it to turn on if it's just a quick, hiccup. So if it's been out for 10 seconds, the generator turns on. Takes about another 24 seconds to power up, then it clicks over and my house is all powered. It doesn't give me air conditioning, and I can't use the oven. But normally you have a power failure in the wintertime when you don't need air conditioning. And I have gas heat, so I'm fine there. But yeah, works pretty good. So, all right. The threats. There's actually CIRC, I can't remember the website, where you can actually go in. Hold on. Let's try to find this. What is it called? See if I can find this page. There it is. Security Wizardry. Okay. This will actually show you the active threats going on right now in the world. Come on, show me a bigger picture. And they will actually light up. It's hard to see on here. Let's see. But you can see the actual threats. There's, alert state. There's just all, and here's the latest versions of the tools. Oh, here's some virus news. It's just all kinds of information up here. There's a way to actually see it'll light up where the attacks are coming in at. Okay, here's your latest IDS, but kind of a cool site. It's called securitywizardry.com, and it was a better picture of the map, but I don't know. It's on there somewhere. But it will show you where all the attacks are coming from, and like Asia Pacific. I'm sorry. There's two main areas. Asia Pacific is one. That's where most of your spam comes through, and the other one is the RIPE network. That's up here in Amsterdam. Those are the two areas where most of the spam comes from in the world. The reason is I used to run an ISP. I did a lot of spam and tracking, so that's just crazy stuff. Okay. Compromise of intellectual property, creating ownership. People steal it, they edit it, they copy it, they change it, they do whatever. Okay. Software piracy. So I use Redbox. Anyone use Redbox? Some of you use Redbox. Okay. I go to Redbox. I get the DVD. I make a digital copy of it, and then we return the movie. Then I put the digital copy in my iTunes. That way I can stream it to my TV. Am I breaking the law? What do you think? Technically, I'm not, because I'm making a backup copy for my own personal use, and I'm not doing a public presentation of it. But, there's a lot of things like that. But, yeah, piracy is a big deal. There's a lot of organizations that worry about that, and there's even more than they list on here. Okay? Quality of service. How, say you're going to watch Netflix all day long, and it keeps hiccuping, keeps buffering. That's not good. So there's actually quality of service settings on a lot of our devices now, where you can say this type of traffic has priority, and this one has left, stuff like that. Okay, and I think I told you last time. Netflix is 30% of the internet traffic between 7 and 9 p.m.? It's nationwide. Did I tell you about the Chaos Monkey yet? Let me tell you about Chaos Monkey. Amazon built its system for Christmas. Okay? They have a lot of demand at Christmas, so they built their system at Christmas. Then they're like, you know what? What are we going to do the rest of the year? We got all this stuff. So they sell it. A lot of people use them. Our roasted website is hosted on Amazon right now. Netflix is hosted on Amazon as well. Okay? Netflix had a problem. How do they figure out, say, this guy over here, what's your name again? Brendan. Brendan calls Netflix. Hey, I was watching this movie and it keeps buffering. How do you think they could possibly troubleshoot that? It would be very hard to figure out exactly who Brendan was connected to, what movie he was watching, what device he was going through, and figure out So what they invented was something called Chaos Monkey. When the engineers are standing there ready, it randomly turns off services. We'll turn off an entire computer system in the Netflix system to look and make sure, because believe it or not, systems are crashing all the time. So Chaos Monkey literally turns stuff off to see if other systems will pick up the load. Okay? I was at a conference on Tinker, years ago now, with a Microsoft rep. And he had 2 servers up there. They were demonstrating failover. He had 2 servers running. He basically turned one off, and everything kept running perfectly. And he's like, okay, and he turns it back on, gives it about 5 minutes to synchronize again. Then he turns the other one off. And from the user aspect, we couldn't even tell anything when it went down, because it was all synchronized so beautifully. Well, that's what Netflix relies on, that everything's got a backup. There's a backup for the backup. And the Chaos Monkey allows them to, okay, I took this system offline, did this other system pick up? Oh, it didn't. So now we can figure out why it didn't happen. Because again, when Brendan calls in, they're going to be like, okay, thank you for letting us know, but there's really nothing we can do. There really isn't. I mean, Amazon is a worldwide system. At any moment, Brendan can be watching a movie off of 5 different servers. You don't know where it's coming from. So it'd be very hard to track. Okay? Internet providers, failure can considerably undermine the availability of information. Obviously, if Amazon goes down, wow, actually they did go down the other day. There was a major issue with some aspect of Amazon services just the other day. Outsourcing has happened a lot. Rose State, we no longer host our website here. So if Amazon goes down, it's obviously going to fail Rose State now. Okay? D2L. We used to host D2L here. We no longer do. We host D2L at the D2L on the D2L servers, which is also running on Amazon as far as I know. So it seems like everything's going to be on Amazon very soon. Okay? So outsourcing, another big deal. Okay, utility services, wastewater, trash pickup, or internet. Does anyone still have a home phone in here? One person, Brendan? No, the rest of you aren't going to admit it. Somebody else got to have a home phone. No? I got rid of mine years ago.
I used to, but since pretty much my entire family has cell phones and people who need to call us use our cell phones anyway.
Right, exactly. I had Cox. Okay, I still have Cox Internet. But I had Cox TV service. And about 3, maybe 4 years ago, I went on a cruise out of Spain. Did, Florence, Pisa, Rome, all over that area. Venice. Well, I'm real big on if I'm leaving for an extended period of time, which is more than going to work, more than one day, I'll turn stuff off. So we're going on this cruise for 12 days. Obviously, I'm turning a lot of stuff off. So I turned off my cable modem. I turned off my cable box. I come back from the cruise, and obviously I turned my cable modem back on because I needed internet. But 3 weeks later, I still hadn't turned my cable box back on. because I hadn't watched TV. And this time I'm like, wait a minute, why am I paying for this? We don't even watch it anymore. So I got rid of TV years ago, and I've never. Who cares? And here's the way I look at it. Like Hell's Kitchen, I like that show. And there's a new one, Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland. I like that show. So what I do is I go on iTunes and I buy the whole series. I pay like $14 for Designated Survivor. It means it automatically tells me the moment it's available every week, and I can watch it, and it's only $14. This way I'm only paying for the shows I want to see, and I can watch them from wherever, and the total cost of them combined is less than 1 month of the, if you bought a couple movie channels on Cox. So, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of different. Okay? Yeah, loss of functionality in service is a big issue. Okay? And average cost of downtime, look at that. So the 95% said 43.92 hours is $9 million. That's a lot of money in downtime. So, Yeah, because I could just imagine if Amazon was down. Who knows what would happen? I mean, I would say 95% of my shopping on Amazon. Does anyone else do that? Have more Amazon Prime boxes in the house than anything? You get Amazon Prime free for like multiple years, then it's only $49 since you're a student. It's awesome. Yeah, I just do everything that way. That's great. Okay, power irregularities. Okay, we have problems with power all the time. Hence, I got a generator. Okay, excess power, power shortages, all those can be. There's a movie called Enron. Okay, it's like Enron, the smartest guys in the room. Okay, you need to watch it. The part of the movie you want to watch is a few years back when there was the rolling brownouts in California. That was Enron. They were calling the power companies to tell them to turn themselves off. Go down for maintenance. Because the power prices were too low. They were trying to increase the demand to get the price go up. And then it was like, wow. I mean, it's like, seriously? This really happened. So watch the movie Enron, the smartest guys in the room. I think that's what it's called. I think Virginia shows it in the ethics class. It's really good.
It's also on Netflix.
Yeah, it is. That's where I watched it from. So, okay, computer systems very vulnerable to power surges, power spikes. I do not have surge protectors and everything, but I have a whole bunch of cameras. I have a lot of Nest cams now in my house. I just like cameras. But a while back we got hit by lightning or something, and 2 of my cameras just really started to be intermittent. And Nest is now owned by Google, by the way. It's kind of funny because my cameras went out. And they were intermittent. They'd work one time, then they wouldn't work, so I contacted support. They've been out of warranty for multiple years, totally out of warranty. I called them, they kept working with me, and then they'd send me up to the next level of tech support. And finally the guy's like, dude, why don't I just send you some new ones? I'm like, sweet. So he sent me brand new cameras. But they've been out of warranty for multiple years. I didn't care. They just sent me brand new cameras. So, I mean, I get a sink that, the little things you put in the bottom of the faucet, aerators they call them? Mine's stripped out. So I called the manufacturer of my sink to get a new one. And they're like, sir, this sink has a lifetime guarantee. Lifetime. We just need proof you bought it. I said, I don't know where the proof is. She goes, no, I'm not selling it to you. You're going to spend at least a day looking for that proof first. I found the receipt and then replaced it free of charge. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that. But, power interruptions is an issue. So, I know I cover a lot of weird things in these classes, but, the point is call warranty people before you start just throwing it away and buying new stuff, okay? But sensitive equipment can really be affected. I have a generator at home, but if you know anything about generators, it's not a normal power is a sine wave, okay? A generator is kind of flat, so not everything will work with it. My car does not like the generator. I have an electric car I charge every night. Man, that car is not happy with that generator. It keeps beeping at me, so I have to unplug the car. But it needs an actual sine wave, which my generator does not give. Okay? UPSs are battery backups. I have a battery backup in my office downstairs. I'm the only professor that has one, but I bought it myself. So, Okay. Espionage. A movie called Paycheck. Forget who was in it. Ben Affleck. Okay, very good movie. Where he kind of reverse engineers stuff, and then it kind of goes on a weird tangent. But the point is, espionage, stealing people's property, stealing their ideas, kind of a cool stuff. Hackers can use their skills to bypass controls. I love watching some of these hacking movies because they're all bogus, but you need to watch a movie called Imitation Game. Amazing. You need to watch it because it's very important when you get into the crypto class. I watched, I probably told you this one, Hidden Figures. Another excellent movie. These are all movies that pertain to this. Okay. Here we have a shoulder surfer, someone watching over what you're doing. I don't know if most of you know where my office is. That's why my desk is kind of where you can't see it from the doorway. Ed Wolf, on the other hand, you can just stand right behind and watch what he does all day long. That drives me crazy. So, yeah, shoulder surfing, a big deal there. Expert hackers, they could develop programs. Then we have the unskilled people who just use what other people develop. Right? So a lot of different kinds of hackers out there. I am a hacker. This is really old. And there's actually, is this about Kevin Mitnick? Yeah, I think, well, actually, they're going to talk about Kevin Mitnick here in a minute. But a lot of hacker people out there. We have crackers. There's cracks that remove software protection. We have a reverse engineering course in here. Taught it last semester for the very first time. I'll show you how to remove copy protection. It was pretty awesome. I didn't know how to do it until I went to that class, so kind of cool. I don't teach you how to do it to remove copy protection. But password cracking. I'm going to show you 10 different ways to break passwords. And you really use them. We're going to show you how to do social engineering. We'll show you, we even talk about rainbow tables, all kinds of stuff you can learn in other classes. Okay. Depending on the length of your password, it could take quite a few years to break it. And I'm actually going to show you something in that real quick. Come on. Where you at? Okay, let's go here to D2L real fast. It's not in your class, but I'm going to show you anyway. Okay, this here. Watch the news page on this class here. Okay, this is the how long would it take to break a password, and it keeps adding complexity, adding length. Look what it does to the years. Isn't that kind of cool? Length plus complexity is a good thing. Okay, yeah, kind of cool there. Okay, all right, and again we cover that a whole bunch. Forces of nature. That's my generator at home. I had a portable generator when I ran my ISP. First of all, I had battery backups. They last about 30 minutes. So what I would do is I'd get a notification whenever there's a power failure, and I'd wait 15 minutes. Because I could get home in about 10. So I'd wait 15. Still wasn't on. I'd jump in the car and race home. So that means I'd get home in 25 minutes, just enough time to crank up the other generator and plug everything in. That got really old. So I bought a National Gas one that's built into my house. It's still there. Okay. Forces of nature, our communication center, not the Hudeberg Center. That got hit by the tornado. So a lot of stuff can get hit. Okay. You need to have plans in place. Okay. Human error. Whoops, I didn't. One of my clients, Sergeant Grip Marine Specialties, I accidentally deleted his entire website one morning at like 6 a.m. And I'll be darned, he was on it. Because he called me, Ken, my website's gone. I'm like, yeah, I know. But I had backup, so I restored it pretty quickly. But it was human error. We also have inexperience, improper training, or we just made a mistake sometimes. Okay? Employees are the greatest threat. If I hadn't accidentally deleted his website, it would have stayed up. So I was an employee, well, the owner, but again, I caused an error. Okay? We have Tommy, trustworthy, or whatever, Harriet, all thumbs, wannabe hacker. Human error is a big issue. Okay. It says employees' mistakes can easily lead to classified data being given out, failure of system, just lots of problems because employees screw up. Social engineering, giving information over the phone. There's Kevin Mitnick. He actually came here to Rose State, paid him $23,000 for 2 hours. But excellent speaker as well. He wrote a book called Ghost in the Wires. Excellent book. Really, it's one of those books you start reading it, and you can be up the entire night reading the whole book. It's that interesting. It's really good. It's called Ghost in the Wires. Okay. Advanced fee fraud. Hey, you pay us some money, and then we're going to give you some money back, and so on and so forth. Okay. You give a small fee to get more money back. My great aunt in Nigeria died. Pay us $200, we'll give you $20 million. Well, first off, if you're going to give me $20 million, why do you need my $200? That's the first question you should ask. Okay. Phishing, attempt to gain personal information. So that's kind of what the homework is based upon. Okay. Here's some examples. This came from Nigeria. I think it's the 419. It's called the 419 fraud because that's actually the area code from Nigeria. Okay. But this is some deal, look, we have tons of money in the petroleum. Donate, invest with us, and you're going to be rich. All kinds of stuff like that. Okay. Information extortion. The attacker steals information from a computer system and demands compensation for its return. I'm going to delete this if you don't give me my money back. I think it was the Malicious virus. It was actually made, this one guy, if he was ever fired, then the virus was going to be released on his girlfriend Melissa's birthday. There's just all kinds of weird stuff that can happen there. Okay. Credit card theft, we're going to steal your... There was another movie I watched recently. It was based on a true story. It was called Plastic. It's on Netflix. It's called Plastic. About these guys stealing credit card numbers. And it's like crazy. I love watching... when you rob a bank movies, theft movies, I really like the ones that, it's called Plastic, stupid name, but it's based on true story, and it's very interesting. You learn all kinds of information about credit card theft, and basically they would steal from people, and they would let people know they're stealing from them. They're like, you know what, dude, I am stealing $20,000 from you. Give me 24 hours, then report it. Well, you're not responsible anyway. My Discover card got stolen for $17,000. It didn't cost me a penny. So they'll let people know, yeah, we're using your card. Well, they didn't try to let everybody know, but sometimes when they got found out, they would tell people, yeah, you can report it. Just give us 24 hours to run it up first, and then they do it. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's called Plastic. Okay. Sabotage or vandalism. Maybe they're going to deface your website. Talked a little bit about that earlier. Right? Maybe they're going to vandalize it, make it just so it doesn't work. Okay. Here we go. Cyber activists wanted. You can actually go online, and there's, talk more about that in the cryptography course, but you can even go out and just do it. Malware, lots of it out there. St. Philip Neri up the street here. I still remember Betty Novak was the principal at the time. She's since passed away, but she called me one day because I took care of the computer system. She said, Ken, I got a virus on my machine. If you get a chance, can you come over and clean it? I'm like, not a problem. She goes, it's not a rush, just when you can get here. So what does that mean? When I can get there. It's not like I have to run right now. So I finished teaching that. I went over the very next day, and it turns out she had the WinFixer 2000 something, whatever edition it was. And it was a virus that displayed pornography. Attacking the principal of a Catholic school that would put kids in her office on whatever, you're in trouble with timeout. And her machine is randomly showing pornography. I'm like, are you serious? She goes, not a big deal. I just turned the screen. I'm like, no, that's a big deal. So I said, next time you let me know what's going on. She goes, oh, what's not a big deal? I said, yeah, that's a big deal. Okay. But I tell you, that was, I think, one of the only viruses I could never clean. I had to wipe her machine and reinstall it. I couldn't get rid of that darn thing for nothing. It was WinFixer 2000 something, whatever version it was. It was tough. It was bad. But a lot of malware out there, and an easy way to tell if you might have something like that on your machine. If you're on AT&T's website, and all of a sudden a pop-up for Verizon appears, you might have an issue. So a lot of times they watch what you do. Now, some websites do that as well when it's not a virus, but if you have pop-ups, that usually is. Okay. So we got malware. You know what that is? Malicious code. It's not really anything you want. Did you know? You all know what a Snapchat is. You know you can install Snapchat on your PC. I don't know why you want to, but you could. But just installing Snapchat installs all this other stuff with it. And one of them is like WinOptimizer Pro. Let me tell you how WinOptimizer Pro works. It just installs. It doesn't say it worked. Then about a week later, it's going to pop up and say, hey, you got a virus. Would you like me to clean it? And you're going to be like, yeah. And you can click clean. It's going to say, done, clean, free of charge, doesn't cost you nothing. First of all, there never was a virus. It was just itself anyway. Then it'll probably do that a couple times. Be cleaning it for free. Then all of a sudden, it's going to do it one day. And it's going to be like, whoa, now you got a lot of viruses. This free version ain't going to cut it. You need to upgrade to the pro version for $29.95. And then you're going to, yeah, it's tough. But, yeah, viruses aren't normally good. Okay. The Stuxnet virus took down the Iranian nuclear reactor a few years back, was actually made by the United States. They had a problem. How are they going to get it into the nuclear reactor? What they did is they put on a bunch of flash drives, dropped them all over Iran, and just hoped somebody would pick one up and plug it into the nuclear reactor, and someone did. It went into the centrifuge and told it it was spinning at the wrong speed, and then it caused it to basically die. It was in their uranium enrichment project. So, stupid. Okay. Worms, they replicate themselves. Okay. The NIMDA was actually a virus and a worm all in one. NIMDA virus. Trojan horses, y'all seen the movies about Trojan horses. They look like one thing, but they're actually something else. Okay. I love you stuff. So big was real bad. SQL Slammer worm. I was running my ISP at that time. When I ran my ISP, when I started it, I actually copied the configuration of a friend of mine's ISP. And that way, his was working, so I used his config. Then I realized the way he did it was he let all traffic in, since he's a service provider, he let everything in and blocked the bad stuff. That sounds like a good idea. So you're just going to let all traffic into your network, just block the bad stuff. But first of all, that's a stupid idea. You should block everything, but let the good stuff in. In other words, just let good stuff in. That's it. So I actually modified my configuration to let good stuff in only. Where his let everything in, just block bad stuff. So I remember when this virus hit, the SQL Slammer worm, he called me up and goes, "Ken, this is Brady. You're going to go down." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm going down?" It was a brand new virus that hit on, I think it's 1453, the SQL port. And it basically took down your database server. And I had a database server as well. But it was a brand new virus. Nothing had ever infected on that port before. And since he allowed everything in and blocked the bad stuff, he didn't block it because it wasn't a bad thing at that point. I said, "Not a big deal. I'm fine." He said, "What do you mean you're fine?" I'm like, "Yeah, I changed my configuration a long time ago." I said, "I just let good stuff in." So he had me send him my configuration so he could start. Yeah, it didn't affect me at all. Since I'd never let it in anyway, it never affected me. NIMDA, multi-vector. It could go through email. It could go through a file share. It could go by clicking a link. It was terrible. I remember spending hours cleaning that one. There's just lots of them out there. There's Code Red. Yeah, there's Code Red. I told you about that one. That's the one that said hacked by Chinese. But I'll tell you, it was that one almost took down the White House's web page, but the reason it didn't was there's an organization called InfraGard. I don't know if you ever heard of InfraGard. You can join it because you're in school. It's run by the FBI. They have conferences. It's a way of getting information out to organizations. When Code Red first hit over in Asia, the FBI heard about it and then just went and changed the DNS settings for the White House's website and never took it down. So kind of interesting. All right, and there's a Trojan horse. You think it's one thing, but it's something else. Okay, we have polymorphic. It evolves. In other words, it changes itself. A lot of the ransomware now is that. It keeps changing. Virus and worm hoaxes, non-existent malware that employees waste time spreading about. Okay. You can kind of think of those jokes. I mean, they're not as bad as it used to be, but years ago, before the internet was too prevalent, people would send jokes through email. They don't do it as much anymore. Backdoor, maybe it's a way to get in. The NetBus virus and Satan were two of the ones that did that. We actually used those in another class. Okay. Denial of service. It says it sends a large number of connections. Okay. When I worked at that ISP, we had an issue where it basically took the system down. It got to the point where everybody started calling in. And I still remember we were sitting there on the chairs, looking at our phones and just laughing. Every cell phone was going off, all the internal phones. There was literally call after call. We literally could do nothing because we couldn't fix it because our DNS was screwed up through AT&T WorldNet. It was a big, long story, but got to the point where we couldn't do anything. It basically overloaded our system and we were dead in the water. That's what denial of service is. Think of it like a Sonic drive-through with 8,000 cars in it. I mean, you're done. I mean, there's nothing you can do. Okay. So the system becomes overloaded, cannot respond to legitimate requests, took down eBay, took down Yahoo. And normally what happens is, the way the threat actually works is, say we got Brendan over here, he's eBay, happened to eBay. There's something called a three-way handshake, which you will learn about. Basically, a normal connection is I say, "Hey Brendan, I want to talk to you." And he'd say, okay, Ken, and I want to talk to you too. And I say, okay, Brendan, let's talk. So there was a three-way connection. Okay. Then we start communicating, transferring data. Well, the way a normal denial of service works is I say, hey, Brendan, I want to talk to you. And he's like, okay, Ken. And he waits. And I don't answer back. But I do that 1,000 times. And a normal TCP connection has a timeout of 10 minutes. Yes, I know, it's weird. It's a timeout of 10 minutes. Because remember, internet used to be dial-up and it was very slow. So imagine 1,000 people calling Brendan and say, hey, Brendan, I want to talk to you. And he answers all 10,000 phone calls. And he's waiting. And no one's ever on the other end. So he's now got 10,000 connections just open and the machine crashes. So that's normally how they work. Okay. Distributed, it could be distributed nationwide. So there's a coordinated stream from all over the place. And you can go online right now and you can buy a distributed system to take down any, say you got mad at Rose State. You could go on right now, spend money in Russia. You can actually order it online and you can take down Rose State's website. They guarantee to take it offline. It's crazy because there's so many affected machines worldwide that are just waiting to be controlled. So you pay the money to this place, they get into all their remote machines that are infected, and instantly tell all of them to attack Rose State. And Rose State's down. So there's a guy, Brian Krebs. He runs a blog called Krebs on Security. He wrote a book called Spam It. I think it was Spam It. Another really good book to read. Yeah, I saw him at a conference a couple years back. That's how denial of service attacks. Everybody attacks it and takes it offline. Okay. Mail bombing. It says attacker routes large quantities of email. Okay. When I ran my ISP, there'll be days where I would get 100,000 viruses a day. Or, not viruses, spam email. And it's sometimes very hard to manage. Spam is unsolicited email. Packet sniffer. We're going to play with those. Actually, probably in the network class, we would play with those. It's where you can listen in on traffic. We might actually do it in here as well. And spoofing is where we pretend we're someone else. Just a lot of different attacks we could do to people. Okay, so we could go in here and say our source is something, but change it to something else. So when you try to reply, it's not going to get there, and it just causes all kinds of issues. And I'm talking briefly about a lot of things here, but you will see a lot of them in other classes. Okay. Farming says it attacks the browser's address bar to redirect users to legitimate sites, so it might make it go somewhere else. Man in the middle, there's actually a program called Kane, which I do a demo of quite a few times, where you could actually capture people's traffic. Kane does it for free. I think it's actually installed on your machines even. All right, so yeah, someone could actually just capture what you're doing, and all the traffic goes through them. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hardware failures. Intel Pentium 66 years ago. I remember when those first came out. There was a flaw in them, and they, as soon as they bought them, they told everybody, "Okay, yep, there's a flaw. Floating point error, like the 4,000th place." They replaced it free of charge. But something else here called the mean time between fails. Do you guys realize that everything you buy will fail sooner or later? Everything. I mean, this remote control, they will tell you when these buttons are going to fail. They know the average time for the fail of these buttons. These projectors, we bought basically this entire building at one time. We've lost 9 of them in the last month and a half. They're all out of warranty. They just got out of warranty. They're all consecutive serial numbers, and they're all dying. Room 202 died yesterday. It's like, great. The odds are the rest of these are going to drop dead any minute. But, in the meantime, they know when things are going to fail. They know. That's how they know how much to charge you. That's pretty much how it works. It's kind of crazy. Okay. Says large quantities of computer code are written, debugged, published, and sold before all bugs are detected. I always tell people you can never write bug-free code. It's impossible. You can't. Even if you're just writing Hello World, which is literally a one line of code, can you guarantee it's going to run on every computer system at every time and on every device? No, you can't. You can't guarantee it's going to do that. So there's a lot of software bugs out there. Okay. And there's actually a lot of websites you can play with them in. Yeah, and OWASP is actually an open web. IT Pro TV, it actually has an entire series on OWASP about finding application flaws. Other failures, buffer overrun. Think of buffer overrun as like, I got a container for my Ritz crackers. What happens when I try to put too many Ritz crackers in it? They overflow. Same thing with the network. You got a field that can only support 50 characters. You put 200 in it, it could overflow into surrounding areas. So, let's see, failure to handle errors correctly. I cover that in all my programming classes. You know, just a lot of different things. Okay, improper file access. Are files locked when they're supposed to be locked? You know, way back when I wrote my very first version of the accounting software that I sold, I wasn't closing the files correctly. So basically, I would open them up and write to them. Every time you write to it, I open the file up to write to it, but I was never closing them correctly. And after a day or two, the machine would have too many file handlers open and would crash. So the quick fix was just restart your machine, but I had to go back into the software and close them because I kept opening them. I wasn't closing them correctly. So a lot of issues. SQL injection, we're actually making a new project based on that. And I had a client who actually got credit cards stolen based on that. Okay, so you will see a lot of this stuff. Okay, technological obsolescence. There was a guy I saw recently who runs a brake shop, works on brakes. He's running a Commodore 64. I was on the internet, searched for Commodore 64 brake shop. He is still running it to this day. Now, talk about obsolescence. It's like, wow, that is like excessively old. Okay, theft. People steal stuff all the time. Again, the biggest theft is from insiders, which is crazy. Secure software development. There's actually an entire way to do it. When I worked at Tinker, I was in the software development flight. We were called CMM Level 2, Capability Maturity Module, which means we develop software correctly. How to do it correctly and security is actually a very tough thing to worry about. And they talk about a common body of knowledge here. That's when we share information. Hey, we did this and it worked. Okay. I applied to offer our Gen Cyber Summer Camps again this year. OSU wants to do it, so I gave them my application so they can use it as an idea for their application. So we're sharing something. Common body knowledge is that way. In the security field, they'll tell you what works, what doesn't work. Hey, we tried this, it didn't work, don't do this. Okay? All right, software design principles. Keep it simple, but not too simple. Keep it small if at all possible. You don't want to have something that's huge that won't run. Okay? Give people permissions they need, but nothing more. And we're just about out of time, and I think I'm pretty much done with this chapter. Yep. So, please look over the books. I did cover a lot of it quickly because we're only meeting once a week. Please look it over, but you should get an idea of the need for security and know what your assignment is. So, you're all set.